The road to hell is paved with good intentions. So what I'm going to talk to you today about is the good intentions of the war on drugs and the bad results. Well, let me rephrase that. The bad results of the war on drugs. Not all the intentions are necessarily good. I mean, we can agree that heroin is bad. We can agree that cocaine is bad. There is some debate as to the benefits of marijuana. I mean, we can pretty much agree that alcohol is bad and alcohol is legal. It kills more people than all the other drugs combined, yet it's still legal. We can agree that cigarettes are bad, yet it's still legal. So in this country, we have some drugs that are legal and allowed, and some drugs that are not. If we look at the National Institute of Drug Policy, we can see that what made these different drugs illegal. So in the 1870s, opium laws were passed, anti-opium laws were passed. And these were directed because Chinese immigrants were the people that were doing the opium. And then there was anti-cocaine laws in the 1900s, and they were directed at black men in the South. And the first anti-marijuana laws, they were in the Midwest and the Southwest. And they were in the 1910s and the 1920s. And they were directed at Mexican immigrants and Mexican Americans. Today, Latinos, and especially black communities, are still subject to a widely disproportionate drug enforcement policy. And this information comes from the drugpolicy.org. Next, if we look at the History Channel, when did the war on drugs actually start? Well, it started in the 1970s as blowback from the hippie movement. So President Nixon was just fed up with the hippies. So what did he decide to do? He started the war on drugs. So he started locking up the hippies. Let's get rid of them. So we can see that the intentions of the war on drugs might not really be that good. The intentions of the war on drugs have caused huge amounts of problems in this country. So according to the Prison Policy Initiative, there is 2.3 million people in prison in America. My audience is getting pretty excited about this. I don't know if you can see them or not, but they're moving around, they're hopping and jumping. So I must be doing a good job. Next, we want to look at what kind of problems this has caused here in our country. We can see that this has caused problems not only with the mass incarceration, but if we look at our current political system and what's going on with the election of Donald Trump, who ran a campaign that some people would say was race baiting. And then we can look at the Democratic Party, and some people would say there is race baiting there. But we can all agree that race relations in this country have deteriorated to a point where we have white power riots in Charlottesville, Virginia, with people getting run over by cars and shot. That would be unheard of 8 to 10 years ago. But why is it happening? Because of police violence, where they're killing young black men in these communities. And why are they in these communities? Because of the war on drugs. We're over-policing these communities, and we're causing more problems than we're actually solving. So yeah, drugs are bad. I mean, that can be said. But, you know, alcohol's bad and cigarettes are bad. Are we fixing anything by locking people in prison for doing drugs, selling drugs? I mean, we do live in a free market economy where free enterprise is part of it. So in my opinion, I believe that we should change from the war on drugs to the help on drugs. We should open up treatment facilities. We should stop making people feel like they're ostracized because they have an addiction. We should offer people help. We should regulate drugs. If drugs were regulated, according to the National Institute of Drug Overdose, there was 16,387 people that died of drug overdose in 1983. And in 2017, that number was over 70,000 people. So we've had this war on drugs and it ain't working. We need to change it. We need to change it for the good of the people. We need to stop invading people's neighborhoods and over-policing people for nonviolent offenses and victimless crimes. Because if somebody wants to do drugs, they're going to do it whether they're illegal or not. But if we put controls on it, we could get the fentanyl out of the heroin and stop people from overdosing. We can help people instead of hurting them. Imagine if somebody came to your house to fix your plumbing and said, man, you got bad pipes. I'm just going to have to blow your house up. I mean, that's what the war on drugs is. People have a problem, throw them in prison for the rest of their life and make them criminals. It doesn't make one bit of sense. Thank you and good night.
Woo!